Holidays, the Dateables. Welcome to another episode of the Dateable podcast. This is a huge holiday week for everyone. So everyone's gearing up for celebrations and lots of eating and merriment.
Yeah, the best part of the holidays. I still can't believe it's December. I just feel like this year has flown by. But I'm excited for the holidays. Technically, Hanukkah is starting on Monday, so yesterday as this is going out, or the Monday before this is going out. And I'm gearing up to go to Florida tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be in Florida, then New York. So we're doing the double hitter of relatives. So we're going to my partner's mom's house first, then my brother's house, and my parents are coming in. And then we're going to my uncle's house in New York City. So we're hitting it all.
I call this the couple road show. You know, like you're going on a road show. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, we were like, let's see how this goes. Well, next year, maybe it would be better to do like a Thanksgiving one, Christmas the other, but we'll see. They definitely have their pros and cons, that's for sure.
But be grateful for the fact that you have people to spend the holidays with.
Yes,
And that
very much.
You have more than enough people to spend the holidays with. I get that this is probably kind of a sensitive / emotional time for many people. I think it highlights what you have and what you don't have.
Yeah.
And I certainly remember the holidays I've spent alone and how alone that could feel. And I've actually felt that while I was dating someone too. So that was not a great year. But
Your ex.
December, yes, with my ex. But December is such a wonderful time to reflect. And I heard this great quote today. The quote is, either let change happen to you or change happen with you. And I do want to reflect back on my time this year and think about all the change that has happened with me and all the change that I hope to happen in the new year. And I don't need to sit back and be like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can say that I allowed this evolution to happen, like taking control of that change.
I really like evolution as a word and not change, because change feels so drastic. And when you think about it, like your whole life has been an evolution. Okay, you said that you feel like this year you changed, or like change happened with you. What's like the number one area you would say is like the biggest area that you can point to?
I think I've really let go of this preconceived notion of what success means in every facet, in career, in personal life, all of it. And I used to be so stuck on, well, if I accomplished this, that means it's a marker for success. And for the longest time, I kept thinking, like, even in my professional life, I need to be at this level. It's not about titles for me, but it's like, I need to be at this level for my peers to really respect me. And this year I realized, holy shit, so many people carve their own path and they're so much more respected that I am starting to feel like, great, I've carved my own path without intentionally doing so. So starting in the new year, I'm going to intentionally keep carving that path. And it's a wonderful, freeing feeling to have.
I mean, I think the same goes in relationships for sure. Like we talk about all the time that you can create the love life that you want. Kind of throw back to last week's episode. That was the epitome of that. And I think, you know, these milestones, I feel like this year it kind of clicked for me. I remember actually going to this talk. It was an author. His name is Arthur Brooks, Arthur Brooks. And he had this book, Strength to Strength. And he basically talked about how like we're so milestone oriented and achievement focused. And it really detracts. And he was talking about like how later in life, a lot of people face depression because there aren't those achievements to go towards. Sure. And, you know, how do you start to reframe what success looks like? And a lot of that's like, you know, that's definitely romantically as well. I think a lot of us I'm definitely guilty of this, is putting really hard milestones. Like, even as much as this person will text me back within 24 hours, or I'll go get to
Mm-hmm.
date number 3. And then obviously, once you're in a relationship, it's the moving in, the marriage, the kids, like all these milestones. And it's really hard to get out of that because we're so trained to do that. But I think I'm also really trying to like unravel that stuff.
It's tough, especially during this time of the year, because I feel like talk about arbitrary milestones. New Year's. What an
Yeah,
arbitrary
there you
milestone,
go.
right? It's legit happening in less than 2 weeks, but we feel like it's going to be this big thing that's going to happen.
Right.
People are already saying, in the new year, I'm going to do this. I'll deal with that in the new year. How is the new year any different than you going from
Today.
September to October? It's this exact same thing. For some reason, we feel like there's going to be a universal shift in it all. So something I've started implementing at the end of this year is, what are some things that I hope to do in the new year that I can start doing now? I'm just going to
Yeah,
start it
that's
now.
good. That's really good. I think, yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things. It's one, it's just like wishful thinking. It's this, okay,
Yeah.
things that might not be going my way, or there's other areas I'd like to improve on. Oh, yeah, things will change in the new year. It's this hope, it's this glimmer of hope. But I also think
Yes.
some of it's procrastination too, because I feel like I've done this before that I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll do this in the new year. And then January comes, you're like, I guess I'll do this in February and March.
Right. Yeah. Mid-year check-in.
I think the one area, though, that is okay to procrastinate on right now, if you are super single, and I'm talking about like there's no one in the pipeline that you're actively talking to and dating, I feel
Mhm.
like it's okay to take a break from dating apps right now. I remember like this time of year, just no one really being very available. Like, even if you have nothing going on and you're going to be in your city, I mean, many people are traveling this time of year. Of course, like by all means, if it's right for you, go for it. But if you're feeling burnt out by dating apps, personally taking the break at this time of year, just focusing on friends and family and even yourself, whatever it may be, helped me so much because it felt depressing, like when people were doing all this other stuff and I wasn't, or they weren't available, and they're like, yeah, let's meet up in January, and it's like, okay, by then it's gonna fall apart. I found for me it was so much better to just take the break and then come in strong in January. And I know that's like kind of opposite of what we were just saying, but I think in this one instance it actually makes a lot of sense.
Take a break from dating, but don't take a break from personal growth. So we're not saying
Yeah,
that, right? And
yeah.
I think this episode is so perfect for that because we're talking about relational intelligence. You all know what IQ is, EQ is, and now we have this relational intelligence, which is also related to self awareness, relational self awareness as well. And I've seen these frameworks of questions where you can ask yourself, what am I self aware about? How self aware am I? And what are my triggers? And how can I
Hmm.
regulate these triggers? And we can take that into relational intelligence too. You're going to get a framework in this episode of questions to ask yourself. How well am I doing in relational intelligence? And where are some areas I can improve upon? And December is the time to do that. Let's take that time to reflect so that in the new year you are equipped with even more tools to date.
Yeah, we're really excited to talk to Dr. Adam Bandelli on this episode, and he is an expert in relational intelligence. Like Yue said, we always hear people say the number one thing I'm looking for is EQ, emotional intelligence. And we actually learned that relational intelligence is different, and he actually thinks it's more important. So
Hmm.
I'll leave it at that. People could hear the episode, but it was a really eye opening conversation, I think. And, he talks about 5 different essential skills that you need to build, relationships and relational intelligence. And I agree with you. Like, now is the time to, curl up by the fire, put the podcast in, journal, do all that. Like, I would so much rather spend time doing that if I feel stuck than swiping endlessly on dating apps, when I know these people aren't going to actually be able to meet till mid-January anyways.
Right, right. And you don't know what their intentions are. You know, is it like that last grab for a date, you know, before New Year's? Who knows? Who knows what people's intentions are?
Or like home for the holidays. Yeah. Like, and I'm going to be out in a month.
Yeah, that's the worst. I've definitely been victim to that. I've also been the person doing that. Yeah, home for the holidays.
One of my favorites, though, I remember I had a really depressing holiday season once, and my parents ended up coming, so it wasn't like terrible, but I was here for Christmas alone, and it was really dead. And I remember I went to like a Jewish Christmas celebration to like be with other people, and just getting there, and it was just terrible, and leaving within, like 10 minutes. I was also there by myself. At that time, I definitely felt like awkward going up to people and just mingling. This was many years ago. But I remember like I was leaving this party, and I got a text message from this guy that I never even met up with, but I had been chatting with on dating apps. It was a group text. It was me plus like 5 other people just saying like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And I'm just like, what the fuck? This is so weird. I'm like, why am I on this group text with all these randos? I'm like, are these other people he's like talking to on dating apps? Like, what is going on here?
How awkward. What a weird feeling. Or maybe that works for you. I don't know. I'm not going to judge that, but to you, it was awkward.
It was awkward.
It did not serve you, but maybe for others, it can serve them. It's just that time. I think it's just a time of the year where our judgment is completely impaired in some ways. I still remember someone said, who you spend New Year's with is going to set the tone for the rest of the year. And I remember I was like casually seeing this guy who didn't give a fuck about like having a relationship with me. And we spent New Year's together, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be my person this year. And of course he disappeared the next day,
He's like, peace out, January 1st.
Such an impaired judgment to me. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like a life-changing moment for us. We're spending New Year's together. No, just spending any other day together. So yeah, just be aware of that. The talk about self-awareness, I'm going to be more aware of that.
Yes. Cool. Well, I'm so excited for this episode. We're going to dive right in. But before we do, few announcements. At Dateable Podcast, that's where you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, YouTube, Dateable. Come there, see us chatting in the flesh. You can see our really cool backgrounds. I'm building us up right now.
Like we're chatting without clothes on. Oh, hey, chatting in the nude.
If people need to come and subscribe and that's going to get them there, we'll do a bait and switch. No promises, but you should just see what happens over there. I'm going to leave it intriguing. But also, again, we said this last week, but if you would love to give UA and I a gift, all we ask is for a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts.
That's it.
That's it.
It's free.
That's it. Exactly. This will improve your dating karma. It's scientifically proven to help your dating life if you leave us a 5-star review. And share this episode with a friend. We said it also last week. Everyone needs that moment by the campfire, doing their self-reflection, whether you're coupled, single, don't give a fuck, depressed as fuck, whatever it might be. You need that time to reflect and think about relational intelligence. I also feel like relational intelligence is really important, even if you're not dating, even if you're not spending time with your significant other. The fact that you might be around family members this time of year, probably all good tactics there too. So,
oh yes,
yeah.